When the door opened, we arrived in a rather bland space. I think I said that last time, didn't I? But hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Fudce playing World End Economica. Let's get straight back into the story. Seems like any building constructed over 20 years ago resembled the ones in the outer district. A low ceiling, cream-coloured walls, and beige doors. A crude, outdated vending machine hummed, and a poorly built door slammed in the distance. There were windows, but little light seeped in, and most were blocked. There was also a guy who commented it felt like an underground world, since the buildings were surrounded by other buildings on all sides. It's true. When I tried to look past them, I couldn't make out anything outside. The only thing I could see was a guy in a dress shirt in the next building staring death-like into a display. The outer district would be better. I have to get used to it. The mood here is calming. I couldn't say it was pitch black because we didn't pay the electricity bill, but quite a few lights were off, probably to conserve electricity. There's a floor mat part way through, but I'd still probably get lost after a while. Chris must have been quite used to being here already, as there was no hesitation in the steps as soon stopped in front of one of the rooms. Schweizer Investing, sorry. Originally it was Investment Bank, but there was lingering regrets from naming it as such. My, you're here early. We were here to knock on the door when a voice called out to us. Chris and I were startled and turned towards where it could come from. A bearded gentleman who looked like something pulled straight from an early 20th century movie looked over at us. Good evening, Mr. Legoff. Good evening, Miss Christen. That would mean this young man must be Mr. Haru Kawara. I may have been the king of emotionless, expressionless, but a poker face was something completely different. A poker face was a skill, weaving traces of a false emotion into a blank expression in order to produce a greater effect. The gentleman lowered his eyelids as if evaluating goods, then raised his chin slightly. I'm Yoshiharu Kawara. Greetings. However, introductions will be for later. Madame is waiting within. Oh, this is charming music. Beyond the open door was a bland square room with 4 cheap-looking steel decks facing each other. Yeah, a working desk which looks actually not quite that good, actually. Much like in Reese's old room, books were displayed in a glass cupboard. In one of the corners there was a digital display. These displays were for automatically cycling through photographs or interior images, one after the other, except it seemed like those weren't photos or images. They appeared to be some kind of newspaper articles of all things. Tombstone advertisements. It was a type of cenotaph for investment banks when they issued security. Was this to not forget the glorious days of yore, as the name Tombstone suggested, as a metaphorical gravestone? As I pondered on that, a knock echoed from the far door in the room. Madam, Miss Chris. The elderly butler beckoned to a lady. I was confident in my first assessment of Lena, but she really was a noble. One moment, please. So when I heard the other side of the door, it was not a noble and fine voice, but an irate one. As you heard. We nodded in response to Legoff and waited. Sorry to keep you. The phone conference went longer than expected. Opening the door, Eleanor came out. I extended my best courtesies when I was pondering the phrase, phone conference. Good evening. When I said that, Eleanor's face lit up, and she spoke as if without thinking. Haru! She uttered my name without any reservations before the elderly gentleman and could properly introduce me. She then seemed to realise just how brazen what she just said had been. That's what I should call you, right? She appeared slightly embarrassed as she inquired. Anything is fine. It was no longer titillating as before when Risa would call me that. I was more interested in the room where Eleanor came out of than that. What I saw in a brief instant was a dimly lit space with only a display for illumination. Was that light? What that light had illuminated only appeared to be a mountain of trash without anywhere to walk. But right after that moment, Eleanor gracefully shut the door. I'm quite pleased you came today. I had no idea how serious she was, but Eleanor held her skirts daintily, and bending her knees, curtsied. I could definitely see her curtsying. She definitely seems the type. She's probably quite serious, since the gentleman next to her has a straight posture and kept nothing but serious expression. I was surprised by how small it is. She gave me a smile as she inquired, but it wasn't out of modesty, as she was in a position where she could easily write off 100,000 more checks. Well, yeah. Le Goff has implored a more spacious room, but fixed expenditures must be reduced to a limits. The gentleman cleared his throat, audibly in response to Eleanor's words. And also, it does not feel like we were starting from nothing. Although I didn't respond with anything, it was evident that Eleanor was quite a lady. But capital L. I would like to say that it's time for introductions once again. However, not all have arrived. My, is Marco not here yet? The gentleman, Le Goff took out his pocket watch, which was just an impractical on the moon as he said that. So he was wearing a monocle, he could totally pass for a character out of a movie. Yet it does seem like he has arrived. Right after Le Goff spoke, the sound of running footsteps could be heard from the other side of the door, from which she opened just as it was being knocked on. Good day. 6 PM on the dot. 5 minutes late. No way. Whether or not he was there for a penalty, the flat cap wearing young man dropped his hands to his knees, either exhausted and dejected. He didn't have many years on him, maybe 12, 13. As I looked down at this boy, probably called Marco, I realised, looked at him, and looked up on me. A guest? We were just about to introduce him. When Eleanor responded to Marco, he straightened his posture, even more upright than Le Goff. Thus, as everyone is present, I shall start with the introductions. That is an interesting ragtag bunch. You've got Eleanor on the left, who seems like a princess or an Alice in Wonderland style character. Long gloves and the long blonde hair in Alice band really gives it away. And you got Marco, who looks like he's about to try and sell you ice in the Arctic. It looks like a dodgy con man. A street urchin, but clean. Then you got the butler. And I have to admit, he doesn't look like what most butlers that I've seen recently look like, but he's definitely a butler. Old. He's an Alfred style butler from Batman. You know that type of butler, the butler who holds so many secrets. And then you've got, of course, right on the end there, fantastic. A cute, adorable little rodent. A rodent in a cute way, not a nasty way. Huh? This is it? When I spoke abruptly, Eleanor's smile became a laugh as she tilted her head slightly. Does it surprise you? A bit. This is the entire group as of now. I looked over at Eleanor, then Le Goff, then Marco, and then Chris. Went back to Eleanor, I scratched my chin. This was the entire force Eleanor had was leading. It really was a surprise to see someone who could toss around 100 grand check assemble this few. To put it bluntly, this was a group of amateurs. We all need to expand when necessary. And we will. Eleanor chuckled at Marco's words. Le Goff wore an expression that said he might sigh at any moment, but stayed silent. Chris wore a buoyant smile but didn't show very often at church. He's a devil-may-care kind of look. If Risa saw that, she'd probably make the sign of a cross. Well, let's go ahead with everyone introductions. Firstly, I am Eleanor Schultz-Schweitzer, 29th head of a Schweitzer family. Pleased to make your acquaintance, Haru. Nice to meet you. I exchanged delicate handshakes with Eleanor, then she looked over at Le Goff. This is Jean Le Goff. He's the chief executive of Schweitzer Western Operations Ethics and Chris is superior. Operational ethics? Maybe you'll understand if I said I was not to invest in dangerous weapons or tobacco. Understood. Jean Le Goff. I've been assigned directly from a 27th head to take full responsibility of Madame's investments. His dark brown eyes were like dull amber, with peculiar intensity to them. When I shook his hand, I could see that his age had seeped into it, but he still had a firm grip. Le Goff has been entrusted with my family's finances since my grandfather's generation. He was once a private Swiss broker, and in regards to the rights of the house's money, he knows the even amount of allowance I receive. Indubitably. Tradition, etiquette, everything not present on the lunar surface was located in the mountains of Europe. That's probably the reason why these two stood out so much. And this is Marco Shania. The boy, stiff from nervousness, stared straight up at the ceiling as if nothing was there. Eleanor appeared slightly startled and Le Goff did not try to hide his frown from the introductions as it was interrupted. Eleanor just knelt down quietly, nudging Marco's head and spoke in almost a whisper. Marco, hat, your hat. Ah, whoa, ah! She smiled gleefully as Marco took off his flat cap in a fluster. This was right for Investing Executive Secretary, Marco Shania. I'm Marco Shania. The Executive Secretary was making quite a big deal out of it. He was basically a gopher. Nice to meet you. It's a pleasure to meet you. I shook Marco's hand. I thought, oh? You're Lunarian. Ah, yeah, but I am. Marco appeared baffled and looked over at Eleanor. Eleanor was slightly surprised as well. How can you tell? I just can. Let go of Marco's hands as I said that. Actually, there was a slight difference between Terrans and Lunarians. The sensation when you shook their hand felt somewhat precarious. I heard you were a Lunarian as well, Haru. That's right. I was born the day my mum arrived on the moon as part of the first colony. Like a living piece of history of the lunar surface. That's only if what's here is history. Looked over at Marco after saying that. He was given a warm, full smile, even if he was wincing at the emotionless expression. Marco was a messenger boy from my previous company. However, for this endeavour, he is volunteering. Yep, I'm going to do my best. She chuckled as Marco stood up as straight as possible as he said that. Le Goff wasn't laughing, but I knew the reason why. Marco was smitten with Eleanor. Also, well, you already know Chris. This means I get to be Haru's senior. I guess it would, though. I'm not yet sure. Looked over at Eleanor, she smiled with what seemed like an unrivaled confidence. Ah, but, well, my regards. I hope we can work together. Now I should introduce you to everyone. This is Yoshiharu Kawaru. 4 years ago, the contest held up by the Vatsinga Economics Research Centre. He was the only investor who pressed hard against, of all people, Jeremy Botsman. It was quite a flattering introduction, but there was one thing that caught my attention. Jeremy Botsman? Goodness, did you not know him? About what? I believe it was named Mr. Lozenges. Allegedly, he had caught a cold at the time. It's quite a tale. Yeah. He left incredible results during the contest. If Barton's information was incorrect, he was a Terran super elite. Even now, he's considered one of the gods of the stock market. Oh yeah, Chris had said something like that. Are you familiar with a company called Avalon? Not at all. I had a feeling I'd heard about it before, but wasn't sure. It's a conglomerate corporation, the largest electric utilities provider on the lunar surface. Recently, it acquired various infrastructure-related subsidiaries. Down with World Industries! When Marco said that, the Goff sighed as Eleanor smiled. Finally recalled it from my memories. It's probably slipped from my sight either on TV or newspaper. World Industries, which had pretty much completely taken over the man-made lunar capital by force, was being challenged by his company in a David vs. Goliath story. Exactly. Jeremy Botsman is one of the 3 heads of Avalon. At 26, he acts both as a CIO and CTO of his company whose profits reach a high 40 billions. As to be expected on the lunar surface, you could say. Chief Investment Officer and Chief Technical Officer. Anyone able to pursue him would certainly have to perform magnificently in the financial sector. For the last 2 years since the start of investment boom, everyone has been frantic to find him, but none has been able to discover his whereabouts. Your phone is no longer reachable. A brokerage account you were using had been closed, and all records were lost from a company merger. I heard from Chris that I was a missing person. The world is mysterious like that. Last year, when I chanced upon meeting Chris, I thought it was the will of God when I learned of Haru. You were in praying at Reese's church. Yes, the lunar surface lacked upon churches, so it was a godsend. Madam, given the time, shouldn't you not move to the topic at hand? Goodness, my apologies. Well then, Haru, have you gone over the contract stipulations? Yep, 100,000 more annually. Also entitled to 20% for collective exchange profits. However, when in deficit, no bonus will be paid out. It's quite the ideal monetary incentive. But I stopped abruptly and looked over at Eleanor. She tilted her head to the side and smiled and immediately said, "You're curious as to my personal objective?" Eleanor was a leader here. If Eleanor had a goal, anyone below her would have taken that heart into heart. The only thing I could do was try to make money, and I doubted I could help if she tried to reclaim her company or rebuild it from scratch. You need not worry about that at all. If I could just have you perform to invest and raise capital, then my objective will be fulfilled naturally. I understand. Are there any other plot points which concern you? The way she asked almost had me chuckling. However, there are a few points that concern me in the contract that kept me from nodding my head yes. I'd like to know the company structure. You're free to come and go as you please. Of course, I do not mind if you reside here, either. However, you'll be sleeping under your desk. Not bad, actually. Marco didn't seem to be joking as he said that with a friendly smile. It did seem like he did not want to force a sudden change in someone's lifestyle. I will, however, establish an upper limit on trading amounts. I will decide in each case whether or not to sanction amounts that will surpass that. Is that understood? Ligos said that in a way that allowed no argument. Yeah, well, which types of money-making methods will be using? Eleanor answered his question. You do things other than stocks as well? No, just confirming. I'll probably be doing stocks. I'm rather familiar with them. I feel that is best. Familiar with a stock exchange. That was 4 years ago. I'm not sure it'll be useful in this day and age. I was concerned, but I had just not as much feeling of anticipation as I did worry. But Marco's gaze looked at me as I thought that. Where his eyes, as if looking up at a sports star he idolised, raised up the corner of my mouth with my fingers and was shaping a smile. Marco's shoulders shot up, but his mouth was twitching as if questions would start streaming out at any moment. Is something the matter? Not at all. How long's probation? What if I were to stay until the end of today? She answered without hesitation. She somewhat resembled Reese in that sense. I could see in her eyes she might just be a frail damsel. I shrugged my shoulders and sighed. 1 month for now. I pray it's swift. Thus, albeit temporarily, I began my time as a member of Schweitzer Investing. Well then, there is business I must attend to. If there's anything you need, please refer to either Legoff or Marco. Okay. You wouldn't perform a large transaction on your first day during the probation period though, would you? Terra Standard Time right now would mean the agent exchange. If that's what you wish. She didn't seem to be expecting such retort as she with a mysterious grin, she then closed her eyes. seems like a 23 dinner would just be as fine for you, Haru. 23? A few fine grains? Let us all go. Madam, your vehicle awaits. Ligos spoke as he glanced into his portable terminal. Eleanor nodded in affirmation and left the room. It felt like there was a sudden drop in pressure in the room as she left. She probably was what you call her presence. She was talking about expensive restaurants. I stared blankly at the door as Eleanor left through as Marco suddenly spoke up. Huh? 23? Oh. There's a place in New York called 21, you see. But a popular place most guys on Wall Street go to. So it's one on the moon. When I muttered that, Marco's eyes suddenly sparkled. You know of it? Oh yeah. It comes up every so often in books. Of course I've never been there myself. Oh. Harry's like that too. Makes me happy. For a moment I didn't know what he meant by that, but I had a good idea. As I looked at Marco, would have been wagging his tail like a puppy if he had one. A flat cap and a light brown vest, a plaid shirt and dark brown pants with loafers. I struggled and decided to ask. Isn't that outfit you're wearing from Terra? Oh, I sighed when I saw Marco couldn't hold back how happy he was at being asked that. I was a little offended by Terra favouring Terran tramps. and even more by lunar punks who did the same. When it was this far, I find it rather adorable. American immigrants laugh at me and take pictures. I won't comment on people's tastes, but I'm not like that. I just happen to know about 21. Huh? I just like the history and stories about finance. But you know about this outfit and what it means? Well, I'd say that I know more about it than Chris. I turned my attention towards Chris, who was listening to our conversation absent-mindedly. She gave a nervous little jolt. Chris is much more of a lunar punk than I am. I get what you're trying to say. What is it? Oh, it's annoying. This guy's terrorised, rather he's retrified. Marco appeared displeased with that, and showed it by adjusting his flat cap with both hands, just like a kid out of an old movie. More importantly, what shall I be doing first? There are terminals if you need them. As soon as we moved to a topic she understood, Chris jumped right in. It's not that, I haven't looked at market in 4 years. If you want Schrödinger Street Journal, I have a paid subscription. You can see the backlog for a few years. Marco replied as he opened his terminal with what was probably his desk. On top of that desk was a desktop clock, a letter opener and a pen sat on an inkwell. Felt like he'd been influenced by Lagarde, but I also thought he was trying too hard. Where's the Daily Post? We have it, but it's the general news. Businessmen should only be reading businessman newspapers? When I said that, Marco blinked and nodded, as if he had had an epiphany. Felt like I was looking at myself from 4 years ago, as Marco punched a few keys in his terminal and gave me the chair. You can see up to 10 years ago. Thanks. I sat in Marco's chair, stared intently at the terminal from one side. He did this so as not to miss a single thing I did. But I wasn't thinking of Marco all that moment. I took a deep breath and let it out. I felt a familiar tension when it came to returning to the investment sector. After that, the only thing I did was read over headlines for each week. Those headlines were, of course, those things the Lunarians were important, were meant to be uplifting. 4 years ago, there were a lot of articles on large-scale renovations for the first lunar city. The suspicions of bribery by Emerald Industries, and articles asking for a violation of antitrust laws, the truth to renovations. Of course, what happened in the 6th Outer District, where we were, wasn't even mentioned. After a commotion reached breaking point, it became just a tiny article about the problems with the influx of immigrants. It came up during the presidential election, but since no one really liked the government, the whole affair was forgotten. The topics were in a loop. Development, influx of immigrants, problems arise. Development, influx of immigrants, problems arise. Other popular topics regarding stability of lunar government versus terrors included a peculiar murder case, an accident of a space elevator, and health problems where people turning to terror after a long stay on the moon. Certain research institute reported findings that muscles of elderly people who spend long periods of low gravity couldn't cope with life on Terra. In particular, there were respiratory issues, which one report said could be fatal. Since there are few elderly people spending long periods on the moon, there are no instances of such deaths on Terra, and commotions ended after a while. At that time, I probably thought nothing of it. The energy crisis began receiving coverage around last year, and Avalon's name appeared around then. Avalon was founded 10 years ago, seemingly to slip through the gaps of regulations as an independent energy company. Their corporate history simply said it would become larger with buyouts and payouts, finally become a David to Emerald Industries' Goliath. Half the top headlines of the last year covered Jimmy Boxman, who was young but even by the lunar surface standards, being employed by Avalon CIO CTO, to have profits of over 30 billion. According to Eleanor, the profits were already over 40 billion at that point. The Avalon brand was showing the highest yields on the stock exchange. It was a brand that made everyone happy. With high yields, we're getting high yields. Then after that, most of the headline articles were about the booming stock exchange. There are people not participating. Were they fools? Or fools are guys engrossed in it? There are many top headlines with president and bank representatives and talks regarding market regulations. There was a completion of ceremony of a third lunar city and an announcement of the start of a fourth lunar city. An article stating there are over 500,000 residential houses. Right after that, a crisis for lower income residences and the first demonstration of ever on lunar surface with the slogan, "Give us homes." That died down quickly and was next article about someone residing on the surface having the highest salary of all, who managed to record 3.2 billion. It may be relevant, as the Pope of the Catholic Church on Terra had criticised the moon as a land of greed and cyclical. Next, the government announced prosperity was unprecedented as far back as statistics were kept. Ration of immigration, increased poverty, cabinet meeting to revise the taxation system. Then revision taken into effect. And from last month, a caption saying that lunar surface had more wealthy people on than anywhere on Terra. Mostly just read the headlines and looked at the photos without reading much of the story itself. 10 years of reading didn't take that long. The gravity on the lunar surface was a sixth of that of Terra. They said that things on the moon proceed at 6 times the speed. When all I did was read the headlines, it did feel that way. Given the breakneck speed at which the lunar surface moved, in uncovering welfare institution, application forwards in the government office really did seem pointless and futile. This is a relatively serious paper, so the more sensational ones would likely be making the whole thing into a spectacle for people to squabble over. Not to mention that if the Schrödinger Street Journal did the same thing, it just caused eye irritation. In any case, it really wasn't hard to pick the gist of the market, even though I just stayed out for so long. The past 4 years I've been living with my head buried in the sand. I picked up some information, and now it's obvious how the stock exchange was doing, and from how the grand newspaper headlines were. If I were to use a phrase from Marco's lexicon, I'd say, welcome to the golden age. And welcome to the end of the episode. Seems like a good stopping point. As well, thank you very much for watching. Have a wonderful day. Join me again next time when I carry on this plot. Until then, bye bye.